Alright, hey everybody, it's me again. So hey everybody, it's Max here, and today I'm going to give you guys a tour or look around UAF, the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus, both obviously my university and where I live and where I work. So at this particular moment we are in my dorm, Macintosh. This is the lounge. Every dorm has one of these where there's a TV. It's not always mounted on the wall. There's also usually a second one that you can set up on a table somewhere. And we have ping pong tables and also pool tables. Ours is downstairs. And there's also obviously vending machines in every hall, every lounge as well. And different waste bins and recycling bins for different stuff. Some halls, like this one, have pianos as well, but take note, not all of them do. And this here, I'll just show you real quick, is the downstairs lounge, where, as I said, the pool table is, and there's also another bigger TV. And sometimes the lounges are like overpacked with furniture. Ours is a bit more open. And well, someone was nice enough to leave the pool table set up. And we also have hand sanitizer literally everywhere. So there's no way you can ever not find some. And this is it from the outside. They're basically just big, giant, concrete rectangular prisms with very thick walls for insulation purposes, obviously, since this is the Arctic. That's our neighbor, Nerland. That's where I used to live and wish I could still live, Stevens. These two are both closed today, or rather, they're closed this year. Some are having renovation work done inside. Others are just being used for other things. But there's this nice open, somewhat park area in between the dorms, or the lower campus dorms. There's another one called Lathrop behind Stevens on the other side there. And there's a grill, and there's bike racks in front of every dorm. But there's a grill, and there's also like a fire pit here. And for somewhat aesthetic purposes, there's a natural stone table as well. Now you'll notice at first, of course, everything looks very green and sunny. That's because this is summer that I'm filming this in. I won't do the entire tour again in the winter, but I'll film sort of an additional add-on thing to this, a supplementary video in the winter, so you can see what the dead frozen Arctic looks like. And also trees, obviously. We actually have a lot of trees and living things on campus. And that may not seem like a big deal, but most of the schools that my friends went to, all of which were in the lower 48, the main United States, were actually like pretty dead, and it was just nothing but concrete and occasional patches of grass. This is Lathrop, the building behind Stevens I was telling you about. There's Stevens there. Obviously around there is where we just were. But this is Lathrop. This is the last in the line of lower campus dorms. And down there, where we're about to go, is the SRC, or Student Recreation Center. It's angry Arctic squirrels in the trees. I don't know if you actually heard it, but that's what that was. But the SRC is it's a gym, it's a basketball court, it's a hockey rink, it's got a swimming pool, it's got a upstairs on the upper floor. It has a track to run around because it has to be indoors, so it can be heated in the winter when it's like -50 outside. So we're gonna go over there next. Now here, in between the SRC and Lathrop, or really right next to Lathrop, on the west side, there's a volleyball court here. And that there, behind it, that big hill is the hill. And it's obviously, you could imagine, a very popular sledding spot once it's actually covered with snow. And here, as I said, we have many of them, is another picnic spot. This one sort of in the shade with another fire pit. And we also have these all over campus, these yellow poles with the blue lights. They're emergency alert beacons. There's also versions of them. They're not on poles. They're just mounted on the wall inside of most of the buildings, usually near the main entrance. So you open the box and you activate the beacon and it starts going off, and the alert will go off inside the University Police Center and the cops will come running. And the response time is extremely fast because we usually always have cops, some of the University Police driving in circles around campus. And so the response time, the few times at my job that I've had to call the cops, was usually less than 90 seconds. This is the main entrance here to the SRC's sports arena. I wouldn't really call it an arena, but that's where you go in to watch the hockey games. And here's one of our numerous mascot statues, the Nanook, which comes from one of the Alaska Native languages, word for a mother polar bear. That way off there, that's our power plant, because the university itself has its own power plant. This over here, this corner with the funky architecture, that's the entrance to the gym part of the SRC, where the basketball courts and the weightlifting stuff and the upstairs running track are. If you're a full-time student, then you have access immediately. If you're a part-time student, like I am, to get access you have to pay a fee, and I don't want to pay the fee, so we're not actually going to go inside. But out in front of it here, there's an open field that you can use for just about anything. There's some basketball hoops on this little pad setup, and over there is the rock climbing wall that in the winter gets covered up with ice, and we turn into an ice climbing wall. And there's also, you can see 2 soccer goals there, there's a soccer field there, and over there on the other side of the road there's another soccer field. Alright, now we're back here, just to give you kind of a broader view. So there's 2 levels to campus. This is lower campus, and you can see buildings up there behind the trees on top of the hill. That's upper campus. The campuses, I'll try to insert the map here. It's kind of like an ovalish triangle road that goes around, and the straight road at the top of the triangle, that's upper campus. That's where all that stuff is, and it curves around like this to make the semi-ovalish triangle around lower campus. Now over there, with the big concrete fortress building, that's sort of the main campus area where a lot of core classes and stuff are, and then in the buildings behind that where all the engineering stuff is. So there is another little picnic fire pit area. No actual picnic table, just benches. And up here, as promised, here's the power plant, and those are the excess steam vents, because basically it's a combined heat and power plant. It generates both the power and the steam after it goes through the turbine is pumped all around campus to provide heating for the university. However, obviously during the summer months when it's not that cold, when it's only like in Fahrenheit right now, it's a little under 60, so about 15-ish Celsius. Those are the excess steam vents that are venting out most of the steam during the summer, since we don't really have to heat the campus that much during the summer. All right, so this is another dorm, Wickersham. It's usually mostly upperclassmen and exchange students. I had to stay in there one year. I really do not recommend staying in it. The walls are paper thin. You can hear everything in the dorm from one side to the other. I'll just give you a vantage point. That's Macintosh right there, and the power plant's there through the trees. So we just came up this way, and we're heading here towards the main area. And this is the Gruening building, or the concrete fortress. This is sort of the core class building. So usually this is where most of the English classes, a lot of math classes, psychology, sociology, and other assorted stuff are usually in here. And panning around, that over there is the Wood Center. That's sort of the main big cafeteria area and giant gaming lounge area. We'll go over there in a little bit. Through there is the post office and the library. This building in here, we won't go in there. That's Signers Hall. That's the main administrative building where most of the administrators and executive offices are. It's also where like registration and stuff and paying bills is. But they like it really quiet in there. And also, before we walk inside, UAF is a tobacco-free campus. And now we enter. Now, there's no classes going on yet because it is only the 22nd of August right now, and the semester doesn't start till the 27th. I'm already here because I'm a university employee. I'm supposed to be here 2 weeks early. But here's like an example. Here's a generic average classroom, and same there, same there. The third, which is the floor we're on, I know it feels weird that floor number 3 is a ground floor, but most of our buildings here have multiple floors below. So, like here's a directory. There's 2 levels below ground and 5 levels or 6 levels above ground. But in the Gruening building here, levels 3, 2, and 4 are basically just all classrooms. And there is both a stairwell and an elevator. But the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th floors and the first floor are mostly just offices and stuff. Now up on the 8th floor, there is the writing center, which has a bunch of computers and does free printing, and you can walk in at any time or sign up for an appointment to go in and have papers reviewed, writing reviewed, anything you want. There's one of the wall-mounted emergency alert beacons that I told you about. And there's also bike lockers here. If you're extremely worried about bike theft, you can lock it up. And I apologize for the noise. I'm just really dumb and picked the wrong day to walk around filming this because they're mowing everything and doing last minute preparations for when everyone, all the regular time students get here. There's the Gruening building again from the other side now. There's the post office over there. And here is one of the 2 main squares, so to speak. This is the library, Rasmussen Library. It has 3 floors above ground, 3 floors below ground, plus a secret vault basement in the absolute depths of their dungeon. But that's Gruening. There's the other side of the registrar's building. Here, like I was saying, is the main square. We used to have the 50 flags of all 50 states in the middle, but they took those out. So we just have the regular US flag and our own Alaskan flag now. And Alaska has the coolest flag, by the way. There's no disputing that. And here, this setup here is the primary engineering set of buildings. Obviously, the 2 biggest things here is mining engineering and petroleum engineering. Although we do offer all the other kinds of engineering as well, but that's all mostly in those buildings there. And that building there with the red and white setup, the Bunnell building, that is the primary computer science and programming stuff building. That's where most of that is in there. That smaller building, the Brooks building, is not gonna lie, kind of random. They just throw whatever in there. Like over the years, I've had an English class in there. I was gonna have another class in there. I forgot I actually forget which class it was going to be, but then they moved it over to Gruening at the last minute. So Brooks is kind of random. They just like throw whatever in there. But it's a nice little area outside. You can sit on any of the stuff. And we let moss and grass and things grow up through the cracks in between the bricks. And you can see those aren't mountains, those are just hills. But you can see some of the hills off in the distance there. Oh, and just randomly, more bike racks. There's always bike racks. There's more over there. You will never, ever have a problem finding bike racks to lock your bike up at. So, this is the inside of the engineering building. Pretty fancy, pretty new. Regrettably, I can't show you any of the really cool stuff, like the earthquake simulating machine and everything, because you know, you can't just walk right down into that room. Here, we named the atrium after Usabelli coal mine, which is where the coal for our power plant comes from, about 80 miles to the south of us. And our newer buildings here, like this one, have these screens with energy usage monitors and water usage monitors. You can switch between them and everything. Alright, we're going to go into the library now, and obviously it's a quiet building. I hope that should be obvious. So I'm going to insert a voiceover via microphone afterwards, like I just did with the engineering building. But here we go. Okay, now we're heading into the library, which is fairly large. Apart from just having 6 floors, it itself is just fairly large. Here's the main area on the ground level. There's a bunch of couches and chairs and everything, and a bunch of these little circular tables with different computer booths at them. Everything's free for you to come in and use. You got some, more aesthetic desk and study areas here. Different types, like those with the lampshades over there. You've got your book monster hiding there in the office. And here you have this little overlook where you can look down into the depths of the basement dungeons below. And that used to be different, if I remember correctly. You got water fountains here. One of them's out of use at the moment, and an elevator. More free computers. More sitting study areas. More computers. More study areas amongst the bookshelves back there. Got our recycling bins. We have those everywhere. Got our photocopier. That's not the only one. There's plenty more of them, but that's the primary one for this floor, obviously. Now we're heading down to one of the lower levels to show you what the other levels are like. The other levels, both above and below, they're all pretty much the same. See, down into the dungeon there, down up the stairwell there. Now we keep going, and we're only going to go down to one floor underground, to the 3rd floor. We're not going all the way into the deepest dungeons. But here we are, and we'll walk over past the bust statue there, and we'll look over the edge. Show you there's still deeper yet to go. Back up to the surface there. Now, in here, past the artwork, there's a whole bunch of more study areas and couches. And we do have a lot of globes, including this one, which is an older globe, as you can see from the fact that it still has the Soviet Union on it. Now, chairs, couches, everything, even more computers. There's hundreds of computers in the library, and a lot of the actual books and bookshelves and things are not on the ground floor. They're on the lower floors and the upper floors. We have these, they're called conference rooms, but they're basically study group rooms, and group rooms for people to work on projects in. And here's a non-completely enclosed one. And now we just keep going past the bookshelves, and we're going to go back up the other stairwell, because there's more than one, back up to the ground floor. And as we come around, you'll miss it if you blink twice, but we pass our painting of Leonardo DiCaprio there. It's not really him, but it basically looks like him when he was playing that Gatsby dude in that one movie. Now, we come back up, and we're going to exit out to the right here. And after we exit out to the right, we're going to make a left, and into that door to the left that we're going to take is the non-quiet 24-hour study room. It's open literally 24 hours. It's in the name. Actually, it's closed for like half an hour to 1 hour, I think around like 4 a.m. for the janitor to clean it. But other than that, it's open 24 hours. More computer rooms and everything. And more little study booths, tables for study groups. This is the non-quiet study, 24-hour study area. As in, you can actually talk in here. You're still expected to not be too obnoxiously loud, but you can actually talk. It's not like complete library silence. Alright, so now we're done with the library. I can talk on camera again. The library has this hallway here that was recently redone that links it to the Music and Arts Building. We have this enormous open foyer area here, and some leftover stuff from the new student orientation that they were doing. So I'll just pick this garbage up. Ooh, they changed this out. This used to be way different. Here, I'll show you a picture of what used to be up there. But now we changed it to the Aurora thing. So in there is the concert hall, and then through there are actual halls and classrooms and practice rooms for the theater classes and for music instruction. Alright, now coming out of this exit of the arts building, some random wire art there. That one's made up like a moose. This is one of the other main squares, so to speak. This is the post office and the bookstore. But there's the Gruening Building. There's the engineering buildings over there where we came from. Library and Arts Building. Now here we're going to the post office. Now we're done with the post office. Gruening Building, just to give you a reorientation of where we are. Now we're heading over to the Wood Center. Alright, so there's many different parts of the Wood Center. Here in the Arctic entryway you have an ATM. Here in the sort of main Wood Center, that's what I told you about. The downstairs level here is a giant sort of living room gaming center with a bunch of couches and TVs, outlets and things, and more around the corner there. And we also have country flags here. We only will have a flag up if we currently have an exchange student from that country attending the school. But here's the main events and help desk you can go to ask questions. And back in there is where things like the dining services office are. So if you end up having problems with your meal plan, that's where you can go. And there's a few extra tables and study areas and things there, in case you're someone who, you know, studies more easily in a loud area, I guess. But here, there's also ping pong tables, foosball, a bunch of pool tables, and an arcade. And in there, it's presently not open, but we have our own bowling alley as well. Now, going around to this area, we have a somewhat more quiet area with tables and more comfortable chairs, and the campus coffee shop slash milkshake place slash ice cream place slash it's a lot of things. So there is Arca Java, the coffee place slash milkshake place. Then up here is the actual dining cafeteria area with our multicolored window arrangement. Yeah, it stretches around there, goes all the way over and around. And this one here in particular, this is a buffet setup. So you pay a flat price. If you're not a student, if you are students, you have a flat amount taken off your meal plan. That's where you deposit the used dishes and everything. But that's the buffet. And around here, along with more tables, chairs, and seating area, you have stuff that isn't open at the moment, but is during the main semester. The Alaska Grill, the sushi place. And the Alaska Grill, you can get like cheeseburgers, chicken nuggets, grilled cheese, all kinds of stuff. And the overlook over the entire thing. And there you can see a set of stairs that just leads up sort of to nowhere, to a little seating area up there. That is reminiscent from a slight engineering mistake. And in there is the ballroom. Now that's not actually where most of the actual dance stuff ends up being. Most of that's up at MBS, which we'll be going to in a few minutes. That's actually more where there's like speeches and events and things. There is the bus stop. Both city buses and university shuttle buses pull in there. So there's the bus stop area. And there's some of the picnic tables on sort of an outdoor patio outside the Wood Center. And this building here, which I'll be going into in a moment after I turn the camera off, this is the police station, the fire station, and the university clinic or doctor's office, which students can go into and be seen for free. Medication stuff, obviously, you still have to get prescriptions for and go to the pharmacy. And as I've noted with my whole ending health insurance thing, you still have to actually pay for that. But just getting seen by the doctor is free for students. And here goes one of the university shuttles. And here is MBS. Moore, Bartlett, Scarland. These two are the freshman dorms. Bartlett is for everybody, but it's basically referred to as the place where all the freshmen get dumped. And fittingly, they kind of look like big prison block towers. Now inside on the main level, there's also a bunch of stuff. The campus cash, which is basically a student convenience store, and the subway, which unfortunately doesn't open until Monday. This is the top of the hill. You go down here, and then right there behind that car is the hill you're familiar with that I showed you. And then there to the left is a small walk down pathway that leads down to right behind the lower campus dorms. So here's up in the front of MBS, benches, bike racks, prison towers, flowers, and now we'll head inside. Here, so what I was telling you, campus cash, and we have everything: water, milk, fruit, snacks, frozen stuff, all kinds of drinks, sodas, noodles, syrup, cereal, literally almost everything. And there's Subway over there. As I said, unfortunately they don't open till Monday. Alright, moving on from MBS, we're going to be heading up that way, heading towards the west. Back down there's the Wood Center and the clinic. So that's east, this is west, and the farther part of campus we're going to is literally called West Ridge. There is another picnic and fire pit area. And up here we'll be coming to the Reichardt building, which is the main science slash physics building. All the physics stuff is there, most of the chemistry classes are there. Alright, so here it is. This is the Reichardt building. It's relatively new. It was built in, I believe, oh, there's one of the police SUVs. Like I said, they constantly just circle around campus so that they'll have minimal response time if something happens. But Reichardt's relatively new. Well, new-ish. It was built in '94, I think. It tells you I'm getting pretty ancient. But here, across from Reichardt, almost more importantly than Reichardt, is this this little view area where you can look out as I point with more garbage that I picked up, where you can look out, and on a non-hazy day, today's a bit hazy, but on a non-hazy day, straight there, straight facing south, you can see the Alaska Range Mountains going straight across, and almost dead ahead will be Denali, the tallest mountain in North America. Now here, between the Reichardt building and Westridge, is this big open semi-treed field. This is where Ultimate Frisbee gets played a lot. And this building up here with the funky architecture, this is the Museum of the North, which has a lot of Arctic history stuff and Arctic wildlife and Northern Light science exhibits and things of the sort. So I will actually be going in there and walking around in it for you in a separate video. Not in this video, a separate video that should hopefully come out within a week. There's one of the greenhouses down there, and here's another hill. People like to snowboard and ski down this hill all the way down there to the roundabout. You can see there, that white building is the Butrovich building. That's the University of Alaska System Administrative Building. So UAF, UAA, the big campus down in Anchorage, and UAS, University of Alaska Southern or Southeast, way down in Juneau. All the administrative stuff is done from that building right there for all of them. All right, so there's the museum over there. We're behind it now on this side. There's the virology building, and this is the Murie building, which is the biology building where all the biology labs and biology classes are. And over there is a smaller building. There used to be some stuff in there, but less and less is there now. Over there, not the building with the radio telescope on top of it, but the one with the Doppler radar dish. That one is both the National Weather Service building / center for the Fairbanks area, and it also has a bunch of offices and stuff in it. That building, the one with the radio telescope on top of it, that's the Geophysical Institute. There's not classes in there, but that's a lot more labs and research and stuff, and some offices. And this building attached to Murie, this is the Irving Building. That's the fisheries department. We'll also take a look in here for you. Again, it's going to be silent with a voiceover. Okay, so welcome into Murie, the primary biology building. Coming in here to the main great parlor area, very tall ceiling, and these windows, these are automatic shutter blinds. They'll come down and everything on their own depending on levels of sunlight. And we have on each of the wider pillars these displays that will show you different like recent research articles. And there's the counselor's office where you go for academic counseling, and they tell you like what classes you should take next. And there's some more microbiology articles. Here's a look into one of the classrooms there. And here, normally, there is a small little coffee shop and cafe open next to the recycling bins. You have the drink coolers, and up here, usually there's like shelves and rows of donuts and baked goods and stuff. It wasn't open at the moment because, again, this was before. And there's another one of the emergency beacons. We have those basically every 50 feet. So there's no way you can not find one. Here's another look into a different classroom, and those are for the smaller, more focused classes after your general ones. Plenty of water fountains, but all your general big classes will be in auditoriums. Here's one of the labs. That's not one of the general labs. That's one of the more focused labs. The general labs are all upstairs, and there's one of the sit-around small study areas. Down that hallway is where a lot of offices are. There's a broken foosball table. And as I said, most of the general labs for like your basic biology classes, those are upstairs. Here's one of the auditoriums. That's where your general biology classes will be. All right, back outside. Moving further along. Here's the Irving Building, as mentioned. Mostly fisheries building and marine science. Back there is the O'Neill Building. That's the Natural Resource Management Building, and also has some fisheries classes in there as well. But a lot of it's the Natural Resources Building. And over there, it's not real actually. It's not like loaded and ready to launch or anything, but we have a big rocket model because we also do launch some rockets here. UAF has its own rocket launch pad out to the west at a place called Poker Flats. And you can see how massive the Geophysical Institute building is. It's actually the tallest building in Fairbanks. And here is the auditorium where the larger natural resource management classes and some fisheries classes get taught. Like my very first class ever was actually in that auditorium. So this is inside the Geophysical Institute. We have one of our drones up here. So one of our programs does have students build our own drones, and not just for like the engineering sake of learning how to build them and how they work. We also do use them for like actual surveying and stuff. And here we have our gigantic gargantuan Alaska / parts of Russia Bering Sea mural. Now out here, front of Geophysical Institute and National Weather Service, there's the rocket you saw earlier. And here's one of those big distance signposts with distance measurements and directions to various places around the world. And some more of our usual picnic tables and benches. And then that's basically it. That's the Butrovich building down there. And then over there, beyond the weather building and towards and past that big huge radio dish in the woods, those are a bunch of ski trails back there that are open obviously during the winter, that are open for anyone to go out and go skiing through. Not a lot of like downsloping hills. It's mostly more cross-country skiing that people do back there. But yeah, there's tons of miles of ski trails back there. But yeah, that is UAF, University of Alaska Fairbanks. work, home, and the best place in the world.